Chip and Dale is the 11th episode of the third season of Disney's House of Mouse, and based on the title, I wasn't really sure what else to expect from this other than Chip and Dale being there. And to be honest, it's not the most action-packed, but actually it's kind of cute. It starts off with Chip and Dale just basically being celebrated. This episode, or this House of Mouse show that Mickey is putting on, is there to celebrate Chip and Dale, and there are nuts for everybody. But Chip and Dale decide to gather up all of the nuts for themselves, and Donald gets wind of this and decides that he needs to gather up all of the nuts so he can redistribute them. But Mickey captures Donald doing that and thinks that Donald is trying to steal all of the nuts, and well, Donald gets increasingly frustrated, and I won't say kind of how that resolves or if the truth is ever told, but Chip and Dale are very cute, and very sweet. I'm trying to think, we obviously had some Disney guests in the audience, but there wasn't really anything too interesting with them. None of the characters really stood out, and I guess that's so it didn't detract from Chip and Dale, because this episode definitely is all about them. And we actually have 3 Chip and Dale cartoons, but 2 of them are older cartoons. I've already watched and reviewed them many moons ago. The first one is Up a Tree, the 1955 cartoon, which is a Donald, Chip and Dale cartoon, which is quite delightful. And the second one is Two Chips and a Miss, 1952, where Chip and Dale both have eyes for this female chipmunk. And again, I've already reviewed that separately. I found it to be very charming. The third cartoon, which is actually the second one to air in the episode, actually doesn't fit in at all. It's Goofy's Extreme Sports, Rock Climbing, 1999, originally part of Mickey Mouse Works. The actual cartoon itself is a couple of minutes, and it's the usual good quality we get from Goofy's Extreme Sports. The narration is brilliant, it's engaging, I love the way Goofy interacts with what the narrator is saying, the sound effects are really good, we get a nice look at the equipment and some of the terminology used. It's not completely heavy with rock climbing based vocabulary, but there are a couple of things here and there. And it's well animated and pretty engaging. It's short and to the point. I will discuss it separately, but I've basically summed it up here anyway. But nevertheless, it doesn't really fit in with this episode at all. But because it's so short, it doesn't really matter. Chip and Dale is certainly a cute episode of Disney's House of Mouse. It's not my favourite. It doesn't really have too much about it that's exciting. Although Goofy did sing, he sang a version of It's a Small World where the lyrics were nuts, which needs to be heard to be believed. That was pretty creative. Quite like that. Definitely not a bad episode, but it's not my favourite.